So here's another video about it, a quick question which came up. Of course we know that, for example, when you're using the broadsword, you could use a parry dagger for your defense. So when we're talking about a parry dagger, we normally mean this, which is sometimes also called an alehouse dagger, so a full basket-hilted dagger. So this might have been in the 18th century only a weapon for stage gladiators in their prize fights. So not really a military weapon or something that you would use on the street for self-defense. At least not anymore. This was much more common in the 16th century and the 17th century. But in the 18th century, this might have been some kind of, leftover from older times, used in the stage gladiator prize fights. So, when we talk about the Highlanders using a dagger together with the broadsword, then we talk about the Dirk, so the Highland dagger. And then, of course, you cannot use it in this way, okay? Because obviously your hand is not protected by a full basket-hilted guard. So what we do, according to very little source material we have about it, mentioning it, and also some pictures showing it, is that we put the weapon, the Dirk, on our forearm, just like a tonfa or the side. So as an emergency parry device to cover our head. And we use this index finger position, which we also use when we are fighting with Dirk. We are using this as a defensive position to parry in an emergency. And then, of course, you can do all kinds of other things. So this is quite an interesting position to hold the Dirk, especially when we look into naval combat. So naval combat using kind of a cutlass or hanger, we know from Lieutenant Pringle-Green that he says you should use your pistol when it is shot. I don't have a pistol here, unfortunately. Using your pistol when it's shot, and you're holding your pistol a little bit also like a tonfa to cover your head. So I will demonstrate this just for illustration with this walking stick. So if you imagine this is a pistol, okay, a little bit like shaped like a pistol, okay, and then you hold it here, and then you can cover your forearm with the barrel. So this is quite not a bad idea to use the pistol in combat to parry once it is shot. And this is something Pringle-Green is mentioning in his little manual. Which is mentioned about the Admiral Lord Cochrane, who seemed to have advised his sailors and seamen to use bayonets to cover the forearm. I don't have a bayonet here right now, but if you imagine a typical bayonet of the 18th century, it has this kind of S-shaped or Z-shaped angle, you know, so you can hold it on the end. It not really has a grip, but you can hold it on the end, and similar to the Dirk, and even better because of this, you know, angle section. You can also use this to cover your head. But Lord Cochrane mentioned that, or in this quote about Lord Cochrane, it is mentioned that they would put the bayonets on their forearms, probably with, you know, some kind of rope, or you know, wrapping a lot of rope around it to hold it in place, and then let the bayonet point stuck out a little bit. And we already made some experimental sparring with it, which worked quite well. So a little bit of Assassin's Creed mode. So just to illustrate it, I just put this on. So from here, you can fight with your cutlass and defend your head. And as you can see, my movement is quite similar to what I would do with Dirk. Okay, so here I'm covered with a hard device, and in close combat I might have this pointy bit sticking out to thrust somebody, to poke somebody. So if you really wrap this tight, I think you might be able to, you know, thrust a little bit. But much more important, this is for your own defense. You can guard your head, and as you can see, it's quite the same motion I use to cover my head, like I would do with Targe, like I would do with Dirk, like I would do with the pistol, as Pringle-Green shows it. And there's also one picture, I think, of a Royal Marine or two Royal Marines who have some kind of wood attached to the left forearm, which also was discussed to be kind of an emergency shield to guard the head. And because I think in the picture one of them is carrying some stuff on board and the other one is just waiting, so they have it attached here. This might be not an emergency solution, but a regular solution on board of some ships, or maybe a general regular solution to say, if you go to close quarter combat, you know, in a boarding action, in other close quarter combat naval action, then it is a good idea to have something attached to your forearm, to use your pistol to cover your forearm, or to already have something attached, not, you know, just in case of boarding, but generally speaking, you have this kind of small shield attached to your forearm. And I think, as it is shown in the picture, it might not disturb you when you're using, as a Royal Marine, when you're using the musket to shoot in naval combat, because it's attached to your forearm and it's not a problem at all. You know, you still have your hands free to shoot. So maybe that was the idea. We also know about a story when Donald McBain was fighting off, I think, like 7 enemies, 7 opponents, and he was using a spadroon and was taking up a cudgel or a stick to have an offhand weapon to defend himself. And you can use, in my opinion, you can use this stick in it, if it's you know, a sword length stick. You can use it, of course, for example, to parry away a thrust like you would do with a parry dagger, and then you counter. But what you can also do, if you hold it similar to what we know from surviving Irish stick fighting traditions, you can also use it to, again, cover your forearm with the same motion you would use with Dirk. So this is quite interesting in my opinion. I don't know if Donald Bane did it like that, but just, you know, some food for thought. You have your spadroon here, you cut, you thrust, and then, if necessary, you would not parry an incoming cut like so, because, okay, maybe the steel bites the wood and stucks, but I think most likely it might slide down and hit your hand. So if I want to cover my head against the blow, I would again raise this quite similar to what I would do with a, you know, with a sea pistol, with a Dirk, and so on and so on. So this is quite interesting. Okay, so I could cover here and thrust back, cover, thrust, and so on and so on. And of course, I can do the same thing not only with a spadroon, I can also do it with a broadsword. And of course, I can also do it with a small sword. So especially when I'm fighting with a small sword against an opponent who has a cutting weapon like a saber or a spadroon or a broadsword or a backsword, then I can also use my small sword to do all my thrusts. I can parry away thrusts from other small swords or from a spadroon. I can use this like a parry dagger, but of course I can also use this if I have to cover my head, like with a Targe and with a Dirk, and then I can thrust. So this is not a bad idea also to, you know, use this again, this motion to cover your head. And of course when I have a sheath, okay, with my small sword, and I, you know, don't have it attached to a belt, or I can put it out from the baldric, I can also use this like a parry dagger to, you know, ward off any thrusts. But again, I could hold it more like this and have also, against cutting weapons and other impact tools, I have something to cover my head. So just like with a stick or with a cudgel, with a walking stick, I can use this to cover my head from blows. Okay, so with a small sword and a sheath, this also works. So final thought about, you know, using this concept of guarding your head is when I have a saber or hanger and I have a solid sheath with it. So again, the same is true. I can use this sheath to parry, you know, like with a parry dagger, ward off thrusts, but again, my hand is quite vulnerable. So a good idea to take this up is to have it a little bit, you know, shorter, like so. Then you can still parry thrusts, but you can also guard your head with the sheath. And as you see, this is one of the solid metal sheaths. Of course, when you have a wooden sheath that is covered with leather, this might work as well. And I mean, this is a solid piece of metal. If I use this to hit someone, this is really hurts, okay, this really hurts. And I was playing around a little bit with some concepts. So for example, instead of holding it like, you know, like a saber, then I cannot guard my head on my forearm. When I hold it like this, okay, this works much better. Okay, so I can parry like so and cover my head again. But I was also playing around with having it like so, okay, using the ring here to attach the weapon, you know, and put my fingers through it just to have a little bit more control, and now using it with the sickle-like curve on this side. So from here I can ward off thrusts much better and control them with this little curve, so this might help also. And again, if I hit something with this, because of the shape, this gives a hard blow, okay, a very hard blow. And another idea, because now again I might be able to parry here and this slides down, but this ring is not enough to protect my finger, so this is not really a guard. Okay, maybe if I stuck it out like so, but still I would be too afraid to get cut into the finger. So another good way to hold this thing is to put your index finger like so. Okay. Now I have a little bit of parry dagger here to ward away thrusts, and my index finger is a bit protected from the thrusting blade, and here I have a very good cover against blows. But I mean, you can experiment with it. There are some advantages and disadvantages. If I would face a thrusting weapon, I would prefer this grip, because now I have two weapons with long reach, can parry here, and I don't have to be afraid of blows. If I fight against cutting weapons, I would prefer again this type of grip, and I can still parry away some thrusts, and I can cover my head against incoming blows. So, you know, just some ideas to play around with the concept of Broadsword and Dirk, basing on the Broadsword and Targe movements. Just to adopt it to other weapons we are using in our style of swordsmanship, of 18th century swordsmanship, and putting it into the context of the things we know from naval combat with a pistol, what we know from the stories McBain tells us about using a stick or a cudgel together with a spadroon, and how to use your sheath to defend if you have to. So this is just, you know, some ideas I want to give you, how to adopt your Broadsword and Targe skills on different offhand tools, working in a quite similar way.